Since the insurrection at the Capitol last Wednesday, many members of Congress are calling for Trump's impeachment. That includes some prominent Republican leaders like Representative Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Senator Lisa Murkowski, and even potentially in private, according to reporting, Senator Mitch McConnell.
Big news. So here to discuss, editor-in-chief at The Real News and host of the Working People podcast, Max Alvarez, and Capitol Hill reporter at the Daily Caller, Henry Rogers. Two great friends of the show. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see you guys.
Absolutely. Henry, let me start with you. You cover these a lot of this for a reason. Do you think ultimately there are 17 Republican votes to convict Trump in the Senate? I find it difficult to see so, but you would know better than I do.
You know, when I saw this report break about McConnell last night, possibly being for convicting the president with articles of impeachment, I was a little stunned. I mean, that's big news. If he can, as majority leader, whip his caucus in line, it's possible. But on the other hand, you know, people like Tim Scott from South Carolina have already came out saying they would not vote for impeachment. A bunch of other senators have on the Republican side. So I really don't think that McConnell's move here, if he does decide to vote to impeach the president, will switch anything up that much, but it's highly possible. I mean, a lot of these people are up for re-election. McConnell just won re-election, so that helps him a lot, gives him some leeway to go against the president, unlike usual. So we'll see what happens here, but I really doubt that number comes together for them.
Yeah.
Henry, how much hold does McConnell have on his caucus, and what do you expect his thinking is here? I mean, is he thinking, look, if I move, maybe I really can get the votes to convict, or is he seeing this as more of like an individual act of protest?
You know, I think it's really a divided caucus right now. I think Republicans are all very confused about their next move. From the people I've been talking with on the Hill, it seems like, you know, they just really don't know which angle to go in right now. Do they go against Trump? Do they side with Trump? Are they up for re-election? Are they not up for re-election? So I really think it depends on each senator. So, I mean, to answer your question, I don't think the caucus does have that good of control on the caucus right now. I think that, you know, this whole resurrection on the Capitol really divided the party in a mass degree to where they're split up as to what's going to happen by state and really and worried about the re-elections moving forward.
Max, I want to get you in here. What are your thoughts on impeachment? We know you're a deep thinker. One of the things that we've talked here about the show is that it's possible that it could actually derail not just Biden confirmation, it could take up valuable Senate time. Is it something that you think the country should be most focused on? Is there a better way in order to find reconciliation? What do you think, Max?
Well, you know, I guess where I would start, right, is that the past 5 years have taught me to be very humble about making political predictions, right? So, like, I can only really, you know, talk about what I know, which is kind of what we've already put on the table, right? If the Senate is going to vote to impeach, they need a 2/3 vote. That means every Democrat and 17 Republicans. I think last night, the McConnell news definitely kind of shook me up a bit. You know, I was fairly confident that this was not going to happen because I think up until that point, it was only Lisa Murkowski, Pat Toomey, and Ben Sasse who had signaled that they might be down for this, and I'm not going to bank on that. I think that, you know, there is a question about the main questions on the table that I think people are considering when they're thinking of whether or not this impeachment proceeding is worth it is how to potentially limit Trump's pardon power and kind of the ability that basically what they can do with that, but also his ability to run for re-election. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess overall, considering kind of the crises that the country is facing, and the limited amount of time that we have until the inauguration, I'm very wary that much of significance can get done in that amount of time. Why? Because I, like every other American, have seen how Congress works. And so, you know, I guess I'm not confident that it would be a substantive proceeding and not just kind of a showcase of symbolic gestures of rebellion or national unity or what have you that really amount to nothing, that really waste time, and that really kind of don't address the dire needs of working people in America today. And they are very, very dire.
Yeah, well said.
Max, I talked to Bhaskar Sankara from Jackman last week, and I support impeachment, but he actually opposes it because he wants, as I think you and I both do, a polarized politics, but not around the issue of Donald Trump. around the issue of the haves and have-nots. And in his view, impeachment furthers that polarization and divide within the working class, largely between the white working class and the black and brown working class around this issue of Donald Trump. I wonder how you see that, not just specifically on the issue of impeachment, but in terms of pushing forward the type of multiracial working class unity that I think you and I would both like to see.
I think it's a really interesting debate to have. And I think that both you and Bhaskar have really important points to make. I mean, I guess like by way of linking this question to the previous question, one thing I would say is that I would not be so confident that like the advocates and acolytes of Trump and Trumpism are going to be so easily swayed, right? And I think that, anyone who is trying to kind of build a working class politics needs to wrestle seriously with that. There are a lot of really important ways that we can make inroads with our fellow workers across the political spectrum. I would highly, highly recommend that people check out a recent piece in these Times by Mindy Iser about Trump voting union members and how to reach out to them. I thought it was a very instructive and enlightening piece. But here's like what I do know, again, if we're talking about impeachment, is that like even though there's some rumblings from McConnell and others that like this may happen, what I know is that even after Donald Trump became the first president since like Herbert Hoover to lose the Senate, the House, and the White House in a single term, and even after the insurgency at the Capitol last week, the RNC was a Trump love fest, right? They voted to reelect Trump's handpicked chair, Ronna McDaniel. This Trumpist wave, and the RNC is kind of doing the opposite of what the DNC is doing, where they're saying Trump has brought in a lot of active people into the party, and like they're kind of banking on that, whereas the Democratic Party is trying to squash that active, youthful part of the party. And so that's not going away. And like if you think about it from an RNC perspective, why would you want it, right? Why would you want to go into the next 4 years with your tail between your legs and asking for forgiveness when you could say without actually saying, if you piss us off, this is what will happen to you?
It's a good point. I mean, but Henry, let's get you in here, and this is something that you and I know, which is that Trump is still the single most popular figure in the Republican Party. I was looking at a poll today about who Republicans want to be at the top of the ticket. He is the number one choice by double. And the next person by that is Pence. And we know if Trump ran against Pence, he would obviously win in a primary situation like that. So what is, like, just lay out that reality, which is his actual, Trump's actual hold on the Republican Party, and how many Republicans do not blame, again, I'm not saying this is correct, but they do not blame him for the violence on Capitol Hill.
Well, yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, all these House members who just got elected, Republican House members who just got elected, are all Trumpers. I mean, they got elected by being Trumpers. And, Matt Rosendale from Montana, who just got elected, he put out a statement right after Liz Cheney came out for impeachment last night saying that Liz Cheney should lose her job. She should be removed from leadership. This is after the insurrection of the Capitol. So we have, a bunch of members of Congress on both the House and the Senate who are still loyal to Trump, who are still going to be, Trumpers in their states and are still going to fight for whatever Trump believes in, I feel like. And that's a really interesting message. I mean, it's quite interesting to think about that, that these rioters can storm the Capitol where they are working in. Their staff is, disgruntled, and they're hiding together, all because of President Trump. And here we are, they're still supporting him and they're still defending him to the death. So I do think it's a lot. I think Trump will be in this game for a very long time.
I think you're right. I certainly do. All right, guys, stick with us. We're going to be back with more Team Rising right after this.